Welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody's staying safe, well, and wonderful. There it is. I was about to say, I swore my water had more in it. Now, I woke up this morning at a little after 7. Still kind of felt like I slept in, but I started messaging people that I had plans with. I tried to get my to-do list on the road. Because while I am working for somebody right now, I'm also working for myself. I want to be a good employee. I had to move some things around. Obviously, that's I'm not upset about. It's like the bid I intended to do today. Which I really, admittedly, just didn't have time for. There were some issues that we both made. I think I could have read her text messages a little bit better, but, especially in the midst of everything going on, knowing I was busy. But I felt it was a little. I guess she could have read mine because she mentioned you said Sunday was better. I was like, no, I didn't. And all you gotta do is scroll up a couple inches to see that. But either way, I just watched a video about push-ups and how to do them effectively. And hold on, let me talk to somebody real quick. Sorry about that. Now, this video was talking about mistakes that we all make when doing push-ups, and I know I did it wrong for quite some time, years probably, most of my life really, until the last, I don't know, 12 or 15 months, and it's probably less than that. It's talking about instead of making a T, which when you do your push-ups, which apparently has your rotator cuff, your muscles and tendons grinding into the bones, you've got to be looking like an arrow and have your shoulders down, 45-degree angle, roughly, with your elbows, and you go down. When you go down, you keep your you hold tension for a little bit. Now, me kind of weaponizing habit and having OCD and making 50 the number to hit makes that a little bit difficult, especially trying to knock them out that early. To hold tension and make something that takes about a second to half a second per rep, into like 4 or 5 seconds per rep. It's just not something I can feasibly do on days that I work throughout the week. But it is something that I can do on days that I don't work, like days that I have, especially when my schedule opens up. I've only got, I think only 2 or 3 people to meet today, and one of them's a half hour away. But the one that was an hour away got moved around and maybe canceled. So we'll see. I'm not upset about that in the least. It's like I may have to speak with the guy who I rent the shed from shortly. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm not going to use the perfect push-ups this time, as I really want to practice what I just learned from that video. One. And also, he mentioned at the top, you kind of round your shoulder blades. 2, 3, 4. That engages your chest more. 5, 6, 7. All right. So these are supposed to be using just your arms and your chest a little bit more. I still don't have an exact science for that one. I will say if you, well, that's enough. But figure a little bit of time. I need to start wearing gloves, hydro excavating, because it is wrecking my hands. Starting to get cracked. Alright. Dude mentioned that just doing 1 or 2 was maybe stopping at 5 was worth more than 30. While I'm not pausing quite as much as he mentioned, it's still I'm gonna call it a blessing that I can do this many. Keep going. But a lot of those issues I've already corrected, so I'm not necessarily starting from 0. Just more push-ups, squats, knocking out the push-ups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow. Adjusting my hips with that last one, but a lot. I can still do more with my core. That might be what I try to do on weekends, or just if I get up early enough for to have more time in the mornings before work. A little difficult with 10 or 12-hour days, but not impossible. I don't really like I'd like to see more growth from my chest. I don't like where I've plateaued. We'll play with that as time comes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, believe it was Sean who asked me not long ago how why I record, and there's several reasons, but one of the cooler takeaways has been it makes me go faster. I have to move these videos from one place to another, and longer videos just take longer to move. They're just harder to make happen. So it puts a little bit of a time frame. When I first started, sometimes it would take 2 or 3 hours to knock these things out. Just doing them throughout the day and just getting very little done in the meantime. Like turn on the TV, play around in between, making it happen. But now, well, as you've seen, a lot of these videos are 7 to 9 minutes long, especially in the mornings. And the longer ones are just focusing on personal growth, which, speaking of, if you haven't started investing in and learning frameworks for your conversations and speaking, I would highly recommend it. There's one that I feel like I've seen a decent bit. The guy, Ask Ben was the channel he was doing this morning, and he likes, his favorite seems to be the one thing. When somebody asks you a question, pause. Like somebody were to ask me about bartending, how do I become a successful bartender? And now, when I get asked that question, half a decade of bartending experience, I mean, I could let my mind go every which way. It's like a big cluttered ball of like, well, you gotta learn the drinks and use fresh ingredients and be personable. Try to just add a little bit of flair and just be interesting, yada yada yada. And all of those like kind of creates this big tangled web of what I could say. Or you could use a framework which kind of funnels all that into a point and distills that information into what I would say is the one thing you need to know about bartending is how to talk to people. You're going to learn how to make the drinks. You're going to learn how to, if you make a habit of it, you'll learn how to do the bar flair. But talking to people is a large portion of the job. So I would I would try to find the one thing, and I'd pause for a little bit and mention, like, well, the one thing is about bartending is learning how to speak to people, brief explanation, and then you can kind of gauge your reaction. And I'd be looking at them. If they're smiling, they're like, yeah. And oftentimes I'll look around, I'll pause and think about what I'm going to say next. The follow-up to that I've tried to get better at, and I'm actually still working on, is instead of giving this big, crazy history of bartending or diving into as detailed an explanation as you can, give kind of a brief summary that answers the question as concise as you can, and then ask your own question: would you like me to go deeper? Or would you like to sift through the granules a little bit more? I feel like that's a good way to get started with a conversation such as that. And that's as good an example as I've got right now, especially before I've even finished the first set. Adjust the hips, brace the core. 3, 4, go up and back. 5. He mentioned most people doing push-ups are just kind of fighting gravity. Well, not fighting gravity, like falling with gravity, like falling, catching themselves, springing back up. It's like, it's not exercising, that's fighting gravity. That's working with gravity, bouncing off of your tendons and like it's just not as useful. It's not as helpful. Looks like sandpaper. It's crazy. It's a weird thing to go from food service to blue collar, where one, you have to keep your hands washed, and another is just, I don't know, I'm fighting the habit of like washing my hands every time they get dirty. It'll take some time. I'll get there. Eventually I'll just start using gloves, and that'll solve the issue almost in its entirety. Dips. And almost went over there and just sit-ups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. Woo! Those last couple put my arms closer, did a whole lot. So another good thing. I'm kind of thrilled that I got the opportunity to watch a few videos beforehand. I think it's going to be good practice. I'll try to make that part of my Saturday routine. It's educating myself about how I do these a little bit better, so I could then educate anybody who asks. Something that kind of made me feel, I don't want to say attacked, but held a mirror up to me when he mentioned that reps, or your body doesn't care about reps, it cares about tension. Woo! Somebody who's weaponized habit and made reps about as close to the goal as you can get. That really has me thinking. I'm gonna digest that one. I'm gonna ponder on it a little bit and see what is whether or not any changes need to be made. We've only got 2 more sets left. they're not hard. So let's get to them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right. Whew. Socks rolled a little bit on that one. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, just 10 more push-ups. That's day done. One, 2, 17. So he mentioned keeping your hips and core braced and rolled the right way. And that one wasn't even about being more effective doing the push-ups. It was about leaking energy. It's like trying to do push-ups against a steel beam or a wet noodle. It made a lot of sense. All right. Well, that is another set done. I hope that you've learned as much as I have through all this, because doing all that really made me realize a lot of things about the way I've been exercising and how I could do better, and how some of it may have been, I don't want to say incorrect, but definitely not what it could have been. So